gun.
What?
Gun.
What?
Like a handgun. For personal protection. If somebody tries to mug you.
What?
What if your government tries to throw you in a can?
What?
You're gonna want a shotgun.
Oh. What?
An automatic rifle. And a lot of ammo.
Gun?
Yeah, gun.
We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They'll burn you out like a Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. Jackbooted cops in riot gear, gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension fund. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta drag them through the streets.
I think that's us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is PrimerTime. My name is Michael.
Hey, and I'm Dan. How you doing, Michael?
Not too bad, Dan. What's going on?
Oh, not a lot. It's hot. Hot here in Tennessee. How you doing, Hal?
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Fine, matter of fact.
Howell?
Too.
Howell, what's
What?
up for the Brotherhood of Humidity?
Oh man, it's shit. It's like wringing wet here. If you want a wet rag,
I think
like
you
that,
and I
walk
should both.
outside.
I think you and I should both grab a towel and make a salute to all our brothers in humidity out there, and
Yeah,
give
absolutely.
them the forehead wipe.
What kind of
Thank
humidity?
you all.
Let's have a weather report. What kind of humidity are you talking about, Michael, and what temperature?
I'm talking about 85 and 85. We hit the
Wow.
double one.
It's the same there in Florida, Hal?
It's been like in the 90s. We've had 90, 91, almost all day.
What about the
Been hot.
humidity?
My saving grace. My
Oh, the
saving
humidity,
grace
I
is
don't know what
I'm
the
on the
humidity is.
coast.
It's not- all I know is I sweat from the time I get out in it until I get back in the AC. So it's got to be hot.
And your saving grace is what, Michael?
I'm pretty sure. My saving grace is the wind. I'm right on the coast, so the wind kicks it down to 90 degrees, or from 90 to 85. I really dread August. That's when the winds stop for about a month.
That's going to be the killer.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
the time I like start looking for extra air conditioners and box fans. I start designing in my head. I start designing gigantic box fan contraptions, because a box fan is only $10, man. I figure out a way to get like 15 of them things together to like make it cool.
What I want to know is you guys' tricks in that humid conditions of keeping your firearms from rusting away. All stainless ones?
Well,
That's a good point, Dan.
yeah,
If you can,
Yep.
stainless.
Yep.
What about your blued firearms?
If you've got blued firearms, I would say a good coat of heavy oil. I like to use 90-weight gear oil. How about you, Hal?
Well, actually, what I keep my guns in I've got a 870 Wingmaster, like I've told you before, and I've had that gun since early 70s, and it still looks like the day I bought it. But I keep it in a dry place, just like what you're talking about. I don't leave my guns sitting out or anything like that. They're always put away in a dry area. And place I keep my guns is in the middle of the place, and it's all wood on the inside. When I say on the inside, I mean I've completely wrapped the inside with 12-inch 1 by 12 planks and 3-inch screws to make it secure and put a safe in it. And I keep my guns in a safe. But what I use for what you guys aren't going to like, well, I'll tell you what I use. I use regular WD-40, and it's supposed to be the shittiest stuff in the world. And my guns don't have one speck of rust on them anywhere.
Let me ask you on this WD-40.
What I do is I just spray it. When I come back from hunting, I clean the gun completely, and I use gun oil on, like, the bolt and stuff like that. But what I wipe the gun down with, if I pick it up, I just pick the gun up and look at it before I put it away. I wipe it down because your fingers have got stuff on them too. And if a fingerprint stays in that gun for a while, it's just not good. I take WD-40 and spray it on a old T-shirt and wipe the gun down, stock everything with it, put it away. And my guns look brand damn new. So anybody can say what they want to about that stuff. All I'm telling you is what mine looks like. And as long as mine keeps looking like that, and I'm an old man, and I've been doing it for as long as I have, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Don't blame me a bit.
Let me ask you a question about the WD-40. How often do you have to reapply it?
Well, where I keep them until I pick it up again. As far as me taking it, I can put it away for 6 months and take it out, and it looks just like I put it in there. As far as it just going away, if it goes away, it must leave something on there because like I said, I got no rust on my weapons at all. But I'm very my rods and reels last me for a very long time. I keep everything clean, and that's clean as the deal. I don't lay my gun down in the dirt. I don't. It stays. When I get through cleaning, if I don't shoot it, all I have to do is come home and wipe it off.
I believe I'm a little bit closer to the coast than you.
Oh, you are. You definitely are. Salt kills.
I've got different issues with the environment. WD-40 doesn't work for me. WD-40 is a once a week application, and that's to everything. And to be honest with you, that takes up a lot of time.
Well, I don't have to do that. I don't know if it's true or not. If automatic transmission is a real fine lubricant. Plain ATF.
Well, I'll tell you what. I bet you that would work very well. And you can get a quart of ATF for what, about $6
cheap.
Now?
Yep, cheap. You can even get
stuff
now.
I buy a 32 ounce quart or a 32 ounce bottle of 90 weight gear oil. I happen to have a bottle of Green Quaker State. I end up soaking a rag in that. I wipe everything liberally with that, and things that I know that are going to sit in the safe for a while and probably not get used for an extended period of time, I've had to learn the hard way. This is a completely different environment than I grew up in, and I grew up in the desert. And I'll tell you what, it's nice and dry, and you could leave a rifle in your backyard for 4 weeks, and it won't have a spot of rust on it.
Wow.
Here, you can take a pistol out of a holster, put it on top of the fridge, and pick it up in the morning, and there's rust on it the next morning.
My God.
So I've had to figure out how to do something. So there's two options here. You have something made of polymer, or you have something made of a stainless or a stainless alloy. That's the easy part. And even with the polymers, you still get rust on the slides.
And the stainless, you got a little stainless too, Michael.
You have to work on stainless. Stainless will pick up ugly if you don't keep it clean. I will say I do like the Ruger LC9. I think it's a great pistol. And I may have one of their early second generation ones. I'm not sure. I haven't done the date research on it yet. But I will say that the finish on the slide is lacking. Completely lacking.
Just a dull black slide, correct?
It's a dull black that wears fairly easy and was nowhere near as rust resistant as, say, a Glock. And when I say wears fairly easy, it wears from inside of a holster.
On the subject of the oil,
go ahead, Al.
On the subject of the oil that you put on your guns, they just about 2 weeks ago they had. I get different emails from different gun companies and stuff like that, just from things I put in. They send information to you in sporting places. And one of the things a guy had done was he had all the popular kind of gun oil. Like you go to the gun show and you see they're selling the different kinds of gun oil they have there. What this guy did was take 2-inch pieces of steel and put with a hole in them and drove a nail and put them and made a board he could put them outside with. And he coated them. He coated each one with a different manufacturer's lubricant, and he did it like just outside, just like what you were talking about. And then he did it outside, sprayed it every 3 days with water, and then he did it outside, spraying it every 3 days with salt water. And the salt water really beat stuff up. But some of the stuff that you thought that had a real good name to it didn't do that well. It was amazing to me because I figured it would be a lot better. Militech, something that I've used it before too, and I use it on bolts and stuff. As far as corrosion resistance, it wasn't worth a damn. It was one of the worst, and it's a synthetic, but it sure didn't work that well.
Well, I'll tell you what, I went to a gun show over the weekend, and there was a table that had a bunch of lubricants and a bunch of gun cleaning stuff. It had various different sprays from different manufacturers, but what I was interested was in the lubricants and the protectants, right? And he seemed to be pushing two brands, Frog Lube and Gibbs. And they seem to be a little bit pricey. What he was saying about them was really nice. You know, they have I don't know what the word is for where a tenacity, I guess would be the best word. It just sticks to everything. And what he was saying about the Gibbs is the more worn your piece of metal is, it's better to that. Now, I don't know. I haven't used it. Like I said, I kind of like the Quaker State 90 weight gear oil. I just soak a rag in that. I soak socks in that. And the socks I put on any long gun and just let them sit in that, and pretty much everything gets a fairly liberal coat of that stuff. And if it's going to be something that I'm worried about, it'll sit in a rag full of the oil.
So no moisture is getting to. That thing slick as a drum after a little while.
I'll be damned.
It's pretty neat.
Does a good job then.
It is pretty neat.
Wow. Looks
Now,
like we might have dropped Michael off. Did you see that?
Seems like it. And I would, yeah. You had a story about.
You try calling him back.
I am. You had a story about gun crime drop since 1990 when Obama's out here spouting about how the gun crime is increasing dramatically or whatever. Did you tell me about Michael?
Yeah, no, Michael's still off. I still trying to get him.
Yeah, but, that's okay.
The gun. It was all we hear all the time is how bad that how guns are out of control on the streets of America. Well, since 1990s, that does not hold true. One of the things they're not taking into consideration is how many people in the last 5 years or so, 6 years since Obama took office, how many people have actually bought firearms that didn't have firearms before? And the answer to that is through the roof. We all know that. He's been the best gun salesman that we've ever had.
He sure has, yes.
Yeah.
I can attest to that by working at a gun shop. That's
absolutely. It says this is all since 1990. Gun crimes go down as gun sales rise, all since 1990s. Homicides with firearms are down 39%. Other crimes with firearms are down 69%. 56% of all the American public thinks that it's up because of what the mainstream media has reported. Crime trails only weather and traffic on local TV broadcasts. Unintentional firearm fatalities are down 58% for the public. Like I said before, how many times a year do we have, we have the biggest army on the planet that go into the woods armed to the teeth during hunting season with very few problems at all. And that's been going on since I was a kid. So that's not, the legitimate firearm owner is definitely not what the problem is. Okay, and so and I put in there, the unintentional firearm fatalities down 58% for the public. I bet the cops can't say that, can they?
Well, they can't.
Fatalities, unintentional. Hell no, they can't. Fatalities, unintentional, down 81% from a high of 3.2 in 1929 and 1930. But that would be back, when people there was no gun laws. Anybody could carry a gun if they wanted to. But it's also a hard time to live. 43% of Americans say they have guns at home, and that is increasing all the time. So roughly half the people in the country have weapons at home. I know a lot, but almost everybody I know has weapons. I don't know, but that's the kind of people I'd be drawn to anyway.
I think that's a good thing, Hal. That's probably what's the only thing that's keeping this country free at this point in time.
That is the only thing keeping this country free. That's the reason they want them so bad. I mean, that's bottom line there, man.
So since 1990, the actual statistics bear out that crime has dropped, correct?
Crime has dropped, especially violent. Crime has dropped.
Violent.
And now look at the other thing. Look how much police brutality that we see all the time in this country now. I mean, it's not when we were a kid and something like that happened. It was like, wow, it's like, you didn't hear that much about it because there wasn't that much of it going on, not like there is now.
I think it was going on, Hal. We just didn't have the social media to report it. I think
it might have been going on, but I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, I didn't see no damn MRAPs. I didn't know.
No, you're right there.
I didn't see armored personnel carriers. I didn't see cops walking around dressed like freaks from hell. I didn't see them in large groups walking down the goddamn street with armor on and carrying a shield and a baton and mace and beating the shit out of people. That didn't go on when we were a kid. I don't believe it. Here's another one. Cop beats veteran to death at a traffic stop for no front license plate. Things just kind of got out of hand on that.
No front license plate. So this guy starts getting out and cussing them or something, and they end up shooting him.
On Mother's Day, Tom Yancey, father, was pulled over for not having a front license plate. What transpired beyond that point was totally clear. It is not totally clear, but his injuries resulted in his death that day. Yancey, 32, was a veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan. There has been almost zero information on the media about this incident. That's just like right here. We had a cop. This happened 2 years ago. We had a cop in Orlando take an 81-year-old guy, a vet, in front of a bunch of Okay, are we back?
I think so.
Okay. Anyway, this guy picked this was like a 230-pound cop, picked this old man up and body slammed him onto the sidewalk, broke his back. And what was reported on the goddamn news here was two cops here in Tampa rescued a puppy. I kid you not.
I saw that story about they rescued a puppy or something like that, and
there wasn't a word about what that cop did in Orlando on our paper. But when you went to other states, I get information from all over the country. That's what everybody was talking about. So a lot of stuff goes on in this country that is never reported. And if you don't go to some place that looks up like what the crimes cop commits and stuff like that, you aren't going to see it. You aren't going to see it. But it's there, and it's growing, and everybody with a brain knows it.
So what do you suggest? What do we
Just had a
do?
cop here in Tampa. Well, you don't really want to know, man. I mean, what can we do? The only thing we can do is prepare to defend ourselves. Because that's what it's ultimately coming down to.
I agree.
Man, that is all we can do. That is all we can do. And,
Michael, you with us?
Tampa's been in the news a couple times.
I think so.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Sorry about that, guys. I think I got internet problems here. I appreciate the patience.
No problem. No problem.
Nope.
So all we can do is prepare.
What I'm saying is we had
prepare for the
problems
worst.
here. We had. Well, you guys know about the guy that was. We had a guy form a SWAT team here many years ago, back in the 70s. We've had one here for that long. And the guy that initiated the first training on a SWAT team lives out in Wesley Chapel. He was in I think he was 71. But he was in a theater, and a guy in front of him had a cell phone and was talking to his daughter. And this guy started, hang up, man, blah, blah, started hassling him. So he gets up and goes and the cop, he was a cop. He didn't identify himself as a cop. He was a retired cop. He goes out and tries to get somebody to come back in to hassle this kid. Well, nobody would go back in with him. So he goes back in there. He starts hassling the kid again. Well, wound up. The kid threw up a handful of popcorn at him, and he pulled his 9mm out and killed him dead right there in the wound up. Right here in the theater. The kid threw up a handful of popcorn at him. He's still in jail right here in the here in the theater. He's still in jail right
We have feedback from him.
I don't know, guys. Let me try and reconnect.
There you go. You sound good.
It's all messed up.
I don't know if that's any better, guys. I'm sorry about
clear.
that. The technical difficulties. I apologize.
You're doing okay.
Yeah, it is. You're fine now.
Yeah, you sound good.
It was all messed up for a while. It's about 30 seconds.
Go ahead if you remember where you're at, Hal.
Okay, well that's what I was talking about. The guy that shot the guy over popcorn. He's in jail right now, but they've tried to paint this guy up as being just a model citizen. Now they've had several other people come forward and say, no, he isn't. He's hassled us in the same theater before over little mediocre stuff. So the guy he's pushy as hell. That was the bottom line. So now we haven't heard hardly anything else about it. So here's another one from Hillsborough County. It says resolution of deputy involved in road rage case angers victim. This guy gets out, goes up, crams a pistol in this guy's face, and then lets him know that he's a cop, and made a big ass out of himself. And it was caught on video, and a lot of it was. Okay, so now this cop run into the back of another couple, and then gets out and goes up and pulls this macho bullshit on him. Like, look what you've done now. I'm a cop.
And he brandished a firearm.
The woman thought he was going to kill them both. And so, to make a long story short, they dropped charges against the guy.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I was so shocked. I'm telling you, I didn't know how to act. And the people have, like, hey, what if this had been one of us? Do you think they'd have been as lenient or been as kind or allowed us to ever even look at a gun again? We'd have been labeled felons. They'd have took our rights from us, and that would have been that. And that's what we see going on all over the damn place. But, we're not supposed to say anything about it. We're supposed to say, they're not all like that. There are good ones, and there are. But you know what? I believe that there probably are. But they sure are quiet. And they sure are covering for the other ones. And I mean, how can all this stuff be happening that we see right in front of us every day if that's not what's happening? If those good ones were doing what their job really is, there wouldn't be all those bad ones running around doing all this bullshit. They're all just like if you're driving the getaway car, you're a criminal. And when you start walking all over the Constitution like they're doing, you're a criminal. And I don't make those rules up. Those rules were made up before I was ever born. But that is what we're seeing, and we're seeing it all over the place.
Most of the good ones are the older ones just waiting on retiring, I believe. Al, that's what it seems like.
Or have already got out. That's exactly.
Have already got out. That's right. They can tell the militarization of the police. They see it.
I put a video in for people to watch. That video I was telling you about. I put that video in. I hope everybody looks at it, because you get to hear right out of the horse's mouth. You're getting to hear a horse talk about what the horses are doing.
Well, what are the horses doing?
Yeah, tell us about it. I haven't seen the video. Give us a synopsis of it. You've seen it?
Well, what it is, it's a retired retired chief that goes around and telling the militarization of the cops. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it needed? Why do cops need MRAPs? Why do cops need the things that we see that they go out and they abuse people with all the time? There's a time and a place for everything.
Barney Fife had one.
There's no reason. There's no reason.
Barney Fife had 138 bullet, Howell.
Yeah.
And considering half these cops act like
Barney
Fife only.
Well, Barney ain't there no more.
38 bullet.
Yeah, Barney ain't there no more. And this
I believe you're on it. Yeah. Officer Friendly retired, and Officer Jack Boot is on duty.
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. We can talk about the good ones all we want to, but just like what I say, if there was that many good ones, how could there possibly be that many bad ones?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't even want to talk about them, because, straight up honest, we already know what the hell's going on with them. I just want to talk about guns.
Well, then talk about guns.
Yep, we can do that. Unfortunately, some idiots are carrying guns that don't deserve to be right now. They use them and shoot our citizens all the time.
That's right. But there's idiots carrying guns that should be carrying them all the time on both sides of the law.
Absolutely. But most of our listeners are responsible, and that brings me to the 4 rules we've got to bring up. Might as well just bring them up now. 4 rules of gun safety. Those are, you treat each gun as if it's loaded, and you make sure you clear it, and check the chamber and make sure there's not a cartridge in the chamber or anything like that. And the second rule, of course, is you keep the muzzle pointed in the proper direction. Never aiming at anybody, and you're always safe at your muzzle. Third rule is you know what your target is and what's around it and what's behind it in case you miss. And Michael, are you back for the 4th rule?
Yeah, I believe the 4th rule, gentlemen, is keep the booger hook off the bang switch. Yep. Again, that's the only rule I really think that everybody, if they can only get one rule out of it, that's the one. There is no accidental discharge. It's a negligent discharge, and if you're negligent where that finger goes, it's your fault. The finger has to go on the trigger to make it fire. So,
absolutely. We want people aware of these rules if they go out. They have to go out shooting with friends and they see somebody doing something wrong. What we're talking about, point it out, bring it up to them.
Absolutely. If they're your friend, it's not a big deal. You're looking out for their safety. You're looking out for the safety of their family. I mean, how horrible would it be for you to go back home and have to tell your buddy's family that your best friend did something stupid with a firearm and he's in the hospital, or he hurt somebody else and he's in jail.
Yeah, that would be awful.
I think hospital is much more preferable than to be in jail and have the pain of hurting somebody else on you. So yeah, be absolutely 100% careful with where you put your finger. Booger hook off the bang switch, people.
Till you're ready to fire. That's absolutely correct. It's a big deal. What's this story about the mayors against guns, Michael? Mayor against guns.
Hey, I'll tell you, Mark Blaze, he was a director of Mayors Against Guns. That's the Bloomberg-funded organization that claims to be grassroots, but somehow raised some $65 million to basically make TV ads and radio ads and ads on sides of buses and get a whole bunch of movie stars who happen to use firearms in their movies in quite a irresponsible manner. I think you'd agree. Anybody see The Expendables? There's not a lot of safe gun handling in that movie.
In many movies.
Anyhow, he was the. That's right. It's their stock and trade, right? That's where they make their cash. Sell one lie while perpetrating another. So I read this. Mark Glaze, he's the director. He stepped down recently within the last couple days, and he gave a interview to Politico magazine. I'm sorry, not Politico, New Yorker magazine, and he basically admitted that none of the gun control measures that Mayors Against Illegal Guns advocates would have had any sort of effect on any of the.
So they've been ineffective, period. And how much money have they spent on this anti-gun campaign?
$65 million.
Is that all?
Yeah, it truly is. That's a very good point. It truly is a drop in a bucket when you've got Michael Bloomberg, who's worth a reported at this time $3.5 billion. I think the man sneezes more change than that.
Yeah.
Also, there was a study from Violence Policy Center, and they are vpc.org, and they've actually come out to a position where not the next gun control bill should not be the one that's currently in Congress right now, not the Boxer sponsored legislation, but they're looking for an actual ban on anything that's magazine fed and confiscation of magazine fed, and they're using the argument that it's an unusual device, that it's unrivaled in its application. I guess unrivaled since when was the first magazine fed firearm? Like 1896 or something like that?
Gatling gun?
That's incredible. So there's no way they can get away with that.
A Gatling gun, that's a good point. A Gatling gun was like fed out of a hopper, right?
Yeah, it had a magazine fed in the top of it.
And it had a crank. It didn't actually have like a box magazine.
Oh, well, call it what you want. It had a stack of bullets on top of it, just like a stack of bullets on the bottom. You're picking the fly shit out of pepper now.
Yep.
Well, that and Cracker, that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing at every level.
Yeah, but what they're doing at every level is unconstitutional.
Well, I guess you're going to have to prove that in a court of law. That's the refuge.
Okay, where's there a court of law? Where's there a real court of law that people like me and you, just plain people, can actually go to and they'll listen to?
I don't think that system exists for us, sir.
It absolutely doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. That's my point exactly. There is no court of law.
And in the recent court findings, the Supreme Court ruled against somebody who was doing something that many of us have done. And when I say many of us in the born before 1980 crowd have done. Bought a firearm and gifted it to somebody. But when you bought the firearm, you may have made an error in the way you filled out the form, and the Supreme Court recently ruled on that, and they ruled that straw purchase buyers are not legal. So according to the Supreme Court, you can no longer go down to your local gun shop and pick up that pink Cricket 22 for $119, a single-shot 22 long rifle, and put on it that you're buying it for yourself with the intention of giving it to your daughter. I suggest everybody.
Time, buddy. They take a big rock and keep chipping it.
Well, are you kidding me? You can't purchase a firearm for a family member?
No, that's now considered a straw purchase. So you'll have to. I guess they're going to amend Form 4473, And at some point, they're going to say, "Are you purchasing this for a family member who's unable to purchase," or some crap like that? And they'll probably ask for a name and date of birth and the whole 9 yards on the person you're supposedly purchasing it for.
That's crazy.
Right. So,
did you guys see where the cops were giving free trigger locks?
Say again?
Did you guys see where the cops were giving free trigger locks? All you had to do was call and ask them for a free trigger lock, and they give you a trigger lock for your weapon. Aren't you going to be the first one to call?
Sir.
Look, I need about 30 of those damn things. Can you just bring them out to me? No problem.
Send me about 50 pistol locks and about 100 rifle locks, please.
Yep.
If you'd done that, you'd have had those trigger locks delivered by like a National Guard squad. They like,
we're here with your trigger locks.
That's right. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm participating in that.
I wrote a few replies to that one myself, and also I saw where TSA has ordered. You know, they were ordering ammo for everybody. Well, TSA just ordered over a million. I want to say 1.8, but I'm not sure. But it was over 1 million more 357 SIG rounds for their agents. So that sure does sound like they're going to arm the TSA, don't it? So if they're buying all those bullets, my guess is they already have the guns for them.
They bought more ammo in addition to the.
Or they've got the contracts lined up. And to be honest with you, okay, yeah, they bought 357 SIG. I don't know anybody that shoots 357 SIG. I know a guy who's got one of them.
FBI and them. That's who shoots. That's the only people that I know that shoot them.
Well, you know, that's kind of interesting that you bring that up, because what is a 357 SIG? It's a 9mm bullet in a neck down I'm sorry, not a neck down, but a neck down 40 caliber case, right? So it'll fire that bullet.
The 40 caliber, isn't it?
It'll fire that bullet. Ballistics will pull up for a 9mm. And when they find the empty shell, will they find a neck down case, or will they find a blown out 40 caliber case?
I think it's just a neck down case, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is a neck down case. It's a 40 caliber neck down to a 357.
Okay.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, I heard it was a 9mm bullet that they actually necked it down.
So it's a special ammo that's not many people have firearms 357 SIG. You're absolutely correct.
Right.
So if the government has those,
I think it's a great idea. I personally like a bottleneck pistol cartridge. I used to have one of the CZ pistols. I'll tell you what, that thing was a rocket. You know, every one of them little bullets zinged out there really, really fast.
I got a couple buddies got those. They're small too.
Well, that gets into like the philosophy behind the firearms. The communists, they weren't worried about the same thing that I think the American market was worried about. Like the American military and the American market was worried about shoot something and get it done. And it has to be big because, well, the thing on the other side might be big. And I think in the communist mindset, all they had to do is, they had the mindset of in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. We just need something that works and works reliably. Because ain't nobody else got anything out there except for like shovels and mud pies.
Yeah.
So you're making your case for the AK and SKS. I know that, Michael. I like those firearms.
Well, I'm not trying to make a case for the SK and SKS. They make their own case. I just understand the philosophy behind the two of them.
Oh yeah, they're great firearms. Another firearm that I particularly like is made by Taurus, and it's called the Judge.
That's a good gun for sure.
It's a 410 shotgun in a revolver. Basically, it's just a large frame revolver that shoots a 410 or a 45 long Colt.
I wouldn't call it a large frame revolver, Dan. I'd call it an extra large frame revolver.
That's exactly
a long
right.
cylinder.
But with the 3-inch shell capacity, it takes up some room. It's not a concealed carry unless you are 752 pounds and you happen to like to wear trench coats.
It's a nice
the gangsters used to carry
I'll tell you what.
cases with Thompson submachine guns in them.
Yeah. This is slightly smaller than a violin case. I mean, it fit in a smaller woodwind box, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
it's a great
I've got a little
nightstand
bit of
gun, Michael. I mean, you just point it in general direction. You can definitely hit your target.
It's got its definite use area, I'd say.
I think
to be honest with you,
great.
It's great if you're say somebody's got some outdoor work to do. You're a landman and you have to ride a 4-wheeler all over the place. You have to walk a good distance. Yeah, it's a great snake gun. It's not any use for any sort of hunting. Absolutely zero.
No, it wasn't made for hunting at all.
Target shooting? Absolutely none. Absolutely zero use for target shooting. For fun plinking, yeah, it's got about a 50% rating, I'd say. And the other use is, like Cracker said, it's good for self-protection. Dan, you mentioned it's good for a nightstand gun. I personally think it's fine for in a vehicle. It's with the right load, it's an awesome carjacker weapon.
That's exactly what it was made for. When it first come out, the first commercials they had for it, and when you go through the books and look, showed a woman sitting in the car, sitting with a window down, shooting an intruder with a 410 with a defense load in it, and it showed the bullets going out just before they hit him. That was their commercial.
Have you had an opportunity to fire one of these?
I've fired one before, yes.
I'll tell you what, Dan, if you fired one, you kind of have an idea. It's kind of a handful.
It is a handful. I would compare it to a 357 Magnum, actually, the kick to it.
I would, in 410, I would not compare it to a 357 Magnum. I would compare it to something much larger.
Really?
And I would compare, absolutely. I think the recoil with a 410 shell in it, whether it's buckshot, whether it's a slug, whether it's birdshot, because I fired everything I possibly can through a judge now. And I find it to be the most usable with a 45 long Colt bullet in it. And I find it to be the least pleasant with the double-aught or triple-aught buck load. With 410 birdshot, with like number 7, number 8 birdshot in the judge, I don't find that to be pleasant at all. Like 5 shots and that's it, man.
Well, I just shot it a couple of times, and yeah, it definitely kicked up on me. It's a handful for sure.
It had a definite sting in the hand.
It would definitely deter a carjack.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's about the range that it's good for, from like the driver's seat or the passenger seat to the window. It's really, with 45 long Colt, its range is less than 25 feet to hit a beer can. So,
they make some rounds that have disc inserted inside those shotgun shells also, Michael, that come out of there, I guess like dimes or something, I don't know.
That's what I was talking about.
Dan, keep that quiet, or those guys that made that RIP ammo are going to get an idea. They'll be selling that shit for $7 a load somewhere.
Speaking of ammo like that, there's also that multiple impact bullets ammo that's out now. Have you seen that?
Yeah, the stuff that's like the bolo round. Yeah.
Those things, when it comes out of the muzzle, it separates into 3 separate bullets that are tied together with Kevlar, and it's like a swinging bolo flying at the target, and it takes out about a foot of the target, of a paper target, whenever you're shooting one of those things, rounds. They make them in all different calibers, including shotgun rounds. And
I want to know what they make the center line out of. And I'll tell you what, if they want to use anything, I would endorse spider wire.
They use Kevlar.
Line. Yeah, I think maybe spider wire is Kevlar, because
I don't know.
If they use spider wire between that, nothing's going to catch. Nothing's going to cut it.
A weaved type wire. Also, it is in fishing. I know that. That stuff's really strong. I don't like to use it because you get
It's seriously strong.
Cut your wire.
It's got many more uses than just for fishing, gentlemen. That's some good stuff to have a couple reels of that stuff on hand. You can almost tow a truck with it.
I've been using that stuff for years. That's some really good stuff.
I like that stuff. And the nice thing about that is that can get chemicals on it, and it doesn't really like degrade real easy.
No, the only thing
and it can spend a lot
color out of it. The color comes out,
that's right.
The strength stays.
That's right. It seems to be affected. The color change seems to happen with salt water a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at spools of it right now, and I got one brand new spool that's nice and dark and hasn't been used very much, and the other ones that I've used just look like a pale green. They're real light, but they're as far as how strong they are. And the other good stuff about it has no memory, and if you do use it for fishing, you can, after you've used it for 6 months or a year, you can take it all
you can use
off
it for something else.
Take it all off the spool, grab hold the end of the old end, and let it go, and let it all go off the spool till the part that's on the spool first is on the other end. Tie the used end to the spool, load it back up. You got a brand new spool of wire, a brand new spool of line, because it has no memory and it's still green right there. Because you only use the first 100 yards, 75 yards of it is all that you use. Yeah. You have 300, 350 yards on your thing. I do that every time I buy it. Because it's kind of pricey. It's good, but nothing beats it.
Yeah, it's not $5 a roll stuff.
Yeah. But you get what you pay for with that.
That's right.
That's right.
It costs just a little more to go first class, you know.
Let me ask you a question. Get what you pay for. What are you seeing the price of 22?
22.
Because
I got to tell you.
I'll tell you right now that here the price of 22 long rifle in the secondary market is 10 cents a round.
10 cents a round?
It's 10 cents a round asking price in the secondary market. That's just what it is, and hey, people have been paying that. I'm not going to jump on anybody because there's been plenty of people paying that and more. But the going price seems to be 10 cents a round, maybe a little bit more for premium stuff.
Not around here or apparently up north, because we have people traveling through on Interstate 81 heading north, and they're stopping in, and we got ammo, those 333 boxes for...
Oh, yeah, those are like gold up. Those are like gold up there.
For $39 bucks.
No offense to y'all Yankees, but that's what you get for having voted in half them crappy legislators that voted away your rights and subjugated you. But, hey, y'all take that up with your people. Just keep shopping and spending tax money in my state.
Michael,
help me keep my taxes low.
The dealer cost on that's $18, and they're selling it for $39. And he puts 20 boxes up on the counter a day and sells every one of them. People stopping in, these out-of-state people. Oh, you got some 22 ammo? I'll buy some of that. And they whip out two 20s as fast as bam. Actually, most of them they limit to 3 boxes, so they just sell them 3 boxes.
Hey man, if you've got a business where you've got customers guaranteed to come in and spend $60 on your item that only cost you about $45, you're in the money.
Yeah, it's like sort of thank you for the shortage. Now now we can get ammo.
I think the shortage is very near to the end. I did see a story on. I can't think, and the tablet has died on me. I did see a story that said that the ammo shortage may be over. Well, I kind of figured that. There's a lot of dealers holding lots, and when I mean lots, they've got more than 10 cases sitting in the back. And when I say 10 cases, I mean more like 100 cases. Mm. So these guys bought it premium prices, and
they're going to have to hang on to it now till the prices come back to them.
I believe the gun stores and a lot of these private guys who've been making fat bank over the last couple months on secondary ammo sales have now. Well, if they didn't get out of it before now, I think they're stuck with a lot of like high-end stuff. I think they paid a whole lot of money for CCI Blazer.
It couldn't happen to a more deserving bunch.
Hey, you guys are in Hogland. I want to talk about hog hunting before the show ends. I want you guys tell me about hog hunting in Texas and Florida. What do you shoot them with? What do you hunt with, for example?
Well, it depends on
how easy are they to hunt.
Oh, they're easy. They're out there. Depends on what time of the year it is and where you're hunting. If you're hunting on
what kind of land? Do you have a lot of state land that they run on?
Yeah, that's what we got here, and you can only hunt.
Are you allowed to go on to state land and hunt?
If it's a management area, you can go on it with if you got your permits and your license and stuff. But they have different hunting seasons. They got turkey seasons. All you can shoot is turkey. When regular general gun goes, you can shoot hogs. You can shoot deer. You can shoot just about anything general gun. Then after that, they have small game. When they have small game season, you can still hunt hogs, but you can't use a centerfire rifle. So you can use. Now
you can go onto this federal land. Do you have to pay an admission fee? Do you have to pay a parking fee? Do you have to pay something like that? Or is it just you?
If it's a wildlife management area, all you have to do is you have to have a management stamp. You have to have if you're going to shoot deer, you have to have a deer stamp. If you're going to shoot migratory birds, you have to have a federal stamp for that. If you're going to
what about state? Okay, so the wildlife management is one thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tied up with your state because, to be honest, there's there's federal land and then there's state land.
No, it's state.
Here there's a lot of federal land and
this is what
there's not a lot of state land here.
What I'm talking about is a state wildlife management area.
Yeah, pretty much all the state land here is off limits to firearms, from what I've seen. But it's a lot of like duck preserves and things like that in my area. Now that being said,
you don't have wildlife.
There's a lot of private land around here, and it depends on how nice you are with. Oh, we do, absolutely, we do, but you're not allowed to take a gun on there. Oh, it's managed, absolutely, sir. It's managed by the
wildlife management area. You're not.
Hey, it's managed by Fish and Feathers, man.
That's who these guys.
I'll tell you what.
That's who these guys are done by too. And we got billions of acres.
If you really want to get into the police thing, Texas Parks and Wildlife just got their own like little SWAT team. And I'll tell you what, like looking at them, they look like guys out of a video game. They don't even look like soldiers. They look like guys out of a video game, like an
Parks and Wildlife.
Parks and Wildlife, dude. I'm waiting for Parks and Wildlife to get an MRAP, so they can like roll up on some sucker's house. We want to check your freezer, because I don't know if people know this, but Parks and Wildlife is probably the agency that has the most clout in the state of Texas. Cops have to file. They got to get warrants, and they got to do this and that, and they got to have a corrupt judge sign off on this crap. Parks and Wildlife don't have to do that. They can just say, I think you've got a whole bunch of, like, unlicensed fish in your freezer. Untagged, undone this. Yeah, I know guys that have had, like, their entire, like, freezers, like, ransacked, and they lost, like, 60 pounds of shrimp. They lost, 50 pounds of flounder, 30 pounds of wing, and, like, 100 pounds of venison. They took like everything out of their freezer. They were like left with like.
Those guys have more power than a state trooper, don't they?
They almost got more power than like a sheriff, man. Straight up honest, they do. They can go wherever they want.
That is amazing.
Honestly, I'm surprised they don't have helicopters yet. Like they don't have an Apache helicopter. I'm really surprised they don't.
Or at least some drones to keep out on their precious wildlife, I would think. And people
that's the nice thing about wildlife down here, as opposed to where Howell's at. You've got to get a tag for hogs. Here, hogs are considered a nuisance. So
no, you don't have to get a tag for hog. I didn't say you had to get a tag for hog at all. That ain't what I said. I said we hunt on state. I said we hunt on state wildlife management areas here. And if you don't have,
I'm sorry.
If you don't have private property to hunt on, then you have to hunt on the state wild. That's the only place that you can hunt. And if you're licensed to, if you got your hunting license and you got your permits, when you go to that each individual one, when you go there, they give you a management permit for that area. Hogs, you can shoot 24/7 here, even at night, if it's on private property. But during hunting season, you can't. You can only hunt, like if it's turkey, you can only hunt turkey. But for the rest of them, you can shoot hogs all the time too. But it's state land, and the state, while the wildlife game wardens here have the same power that you're talking about. But that hasn't been a real problem here that I know anything about.
Well, are the hogs everywhere when you're hunting? I mean, how
Well, once hunting season starts and a few shots are fired, the hogs ain't crazy. I mean, when you see hog hunting videos,
they're very, very smart.
Oh, when you see the hog hunting videos, you see these guys usually that are in a place where these hogs are brought to and they're fed. There'll be a shooting stand back 75, 50 yards, 100 yards away from them.
And they're baiting them in.
And they're shooting them. But in a wildlife management area here, you can't use a call for a turkey. You can't use bait. You can't use anything like that. You have to walk through the woods and find them yourself. And that's not the easiest thing in the world to do, because the woods here and where I go is really, really thick. And if it's cold,
dogs.
If it's cold, well, they do it with dogs too. But there are times during general gun they don't have dogs. They've got a special time for the people to go into the woods with the dogs. And if they're in there with the dogs, then that's they go in there and they just let the dogs chase them down.
If you're in Texas, you can use hogs anytime, or you can use dogs on hogs anytime you want.
Well, on private property, you could do it here. But on the wildlife management areas, you can't. And I'm only speaking for wildlife management areas.
Yeah. Our wildlife
property, you can hunt them with a
areas
machine gun, I guess.
You can't bring nothing onto it. Say it again?
Pretty good.
On private property, I guess you can hunt them with a machine gun if you want to, can't you?
If you had the permit for the machine gun, I've never seen anything that said that you couldn't.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Private property here, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not caught. That's all I'm going to say about hunting.
I go in for on small game. I don't take a shotgun. I'd rather have my 22. I just take a 22 long rifle. I shoot the stingers in it. Michael talks about stinger hollow points.
I'm telling you, man. I wish I could find a deal of like 10,000 rounds of stingers that somebody's been sitting on, like old blue box stingers that have been sitting like in an airtight case for like 50 years, man. I would love to find that.
Those things are good.
Seriously, those are the best bullets, and those are the best bullets I've ever found. I've got like a certain connection to them from when I was a kid. Whatever, those are my favorite, and that blue box means something to me. So
we used to shoot an orange with one of those things, and it would just disintegrate.
Yeah.
Turn it to vapor.
It's a good squirrel round, all around round, really. And the stinger is.
Yeah, I got to give a couple of shout outs before we head out of here tonight. I know we're getting real close to the end. I want to give a shout out to Jason. Hey, Jason, you take care on good luck tonight. I got to give a shout out to my brother Nick. Stay strong, stay safe, and get your ass home.
How's Nick doing?
He's getting there. He's getting there. He's doing well. I'll tell you what. When Nick retires, it's the Army's loss, because that boy is squared away like no other motherfucker I know.
He's getting a short time now, isn't he?
He is. So get your ass home, boy, and give all your boys out there a shout out for me. And I want to give love to all my people in South Texas down here. Dan.
Yeah, I think it's. I want to thank Jules, and you guys are waiting on the Pepper Chicks. She has an all new show tonight. What is that show called? New Game or something? I think, isn't it, Michael?
I believe it's still Prepper Chicks After Dark. I don't know if they've got a new game or not. I'm definitely gonna give it a listen tonight.
Al, got any last words?
No, just everybody have a safe week, and nice talking with you guys.
Yeah, enjoyed it, everybody.
I apologize for the technical difficulties earlier, guys.
It's been happening a bunch here lately, Michael. I don't know what's going on.
I think we touched on sensitive subject, man. Everybody buy a gun. Why not?